Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Aja, and this is my first YouTube video. And I wanted to make a video about the ASVAB because I was on YouTube a lot looking at a bunch of other people's videos, and a lot of people had a bunch of questions about the ASVAB. So I decided that I would make a video as well because I took mine recently, and I figured if people have questions, then I would be more than happy to help you answer them or help you study or give you advice or anything. So I'm gonna try to make this video as short as possible, meaning less than 10 minutes, and try to get through everything that I did for my ASVAB and how to study for it, and I'll let you know like what I got and what job I got and stuff like that. But the story is that I decided that I want to join the Air Force later, like November of 2010. So I went to the recruiter and he set me up to go ahead and take the ASVAB at MEPS. So I had about 2 weeks or whatever until my ASVAB test date. So what I did was I went online to airforce.com or whatever that website is that gives you all the jobs that are in the Air Force. And I looked and I saw what score I needed to get in order to get the job that I wanted. And the job I decided that I wanted to have for the Air Force was diet therapy. And in order to get the job of diet therapy, you had to have a general 43 score. So okay, so my goal was to get a general 43. So I went to the bookstore and I went and bought this book called ASVAB for Dummies, which a lot of other people online have talked about, ASVAB for Dummies. So I'll show you the book. I bought this book, ASVAB for Dummies. This is an older edition. I got my edition. It was probably like a 2007 or something like that. I got it from a used bookstore, and it was about $4 or $5. If you can get the book used, I suggest that because the book new is about $20, and you only need it up until the point that you pass the ASVAB, and after that you don't need it. So I would try to get it used if possible. So I needed a general 43 to qualify for diet therapy. So in the book, it talks about line placement scores. So let's see here, line scores in the Air Force. You see it, line scores in the Air Force. Okay. So there are 4 sections to the to line scores for the Air Force, which is mechanical, administrative, general, and electronic. Those 4 areas. Those are the 4 areas. And my diet therapy is in the general area. So I need to get a G43. So in order to get a G43, there are about 8 or 9 subtests on the ASVAB, and particular areas are how they calculate the score that you get for the job that you want. So general, it's also in the book. General, it says there at the bottom, you need to add your verbal expression score and your arithmetic reasoning raw score, which is VE plus AR, then compare it to the chart, which is on the next page. And I needed to get a 43. I need to get a 43. 43, I don't think you can really see it. It's like a 99 or something like that. It's kind of like, where is it? It's like, I'm just, you need to get a 99. Okay, so the plan was to get a G43, so I need to study, of course, verbal expression and arithmetic reasoning. Those are the 2 things I need to focus on the most. So the subtests that are in the ASVAB are general science, arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, numerical operations, which is like math problems, auto and shop info, and mechanical knowledge, mathematic knowledge, and electronic info. When I started studying for the test, I started studying about 2 weeks out, and I just kind of went through what I did. I went through the book, and I focused on the verbal expression and the arithmetic knowledge, and those are the parts that I studied the most. But I did read through the entire book because I wanted to get a good score on all the sections. Those just were the 2 sections that I need to get the best score on. So what I advise you to do is to go online and look and see what job or jobs you would like to have, and then look and see what subtests you need in order to do well for those jobs, in order to qualify for those jobs. So if you want to be like a mechanic, then it would probably be best for you to study electronic, auto shop info, mechanical, and what have you. I wanted diet therapy, which is a medical job, so I studied what they said to study. So I went through the whole book, and there were about 3 or 4 practice tests in the book, and I took all those. And then in the book you have the practice test, and it tells you if you got the question right or wrong and why the answer is what it is. So it breaks down everything for you. So if you have a question about why an answer is a certain answer, it's in the book. It's in the back of the book. After you take the practice test, it'll tell you exactly how you get the answer that you should get. So I took about 2 or 3 of those, and it really wasn't like really intensive studying or anything like that. It was really about me studying probably about 30 minutes a day, and just taking the practice test as I could. And I wouldn't take the whole thing at a time, because when you take the ASVAB, it takes a really long amount of time, and I didn't have like that amount of time set aside in my day like that, because I have to go to work and stuff like that. But I would take the book to work, and like when I had a quick moment, 15-20 minutes, you just take one part of the test, and then check your answers, and then you just do that. And there's however many parts to the test, to the ASVAB. So you just do that, and you go along, and if you get it right, just keep moving. So that's what I did. I studied probably about 4 or 5 times for about 30 minutes until I took the ASVAB. And I mean, the book is pretty good. Excuse me. The book is pretty good. It's really informative. Rod Powers did a good job, so I would suggest buying the book and studying and focusing on the areas that you want to study. So after I studied, I went to MEPS like on a Monday morning or something like that, and it was early in the morning. My recruiter dropped me off, and you go in this room, and they give you they give you a paper. Your recruiter will give you a paper to give to the person, the proctor, to set you up for the test. My test was on the computer, so it was a CAT ASVAB, computer administrated test ASVAB, I believe. And so you just, she set me up to take the test, and I sat down and started taking the test. And so it's pretty much set up like it is in the book. Like you get the general science question, which is kind of like about things like clouds, and things like the layers of the earth, and things like that. General, just small stuff you probably should have learned in high school. Arithmetic, reasoning. It's math and subtraction and stuff like that. Word knowledge, it's kind of like similes and things like that. So if you're not really good at English, I would really pay attention to that part in the ASVAB book. Paragraph comprehension is reading a paragraph, and then after you're finished reading the paragraph, there are questions about what happened in the paragraph, like from reading the paragraph, what do you infer, or what would the title be? What would be a good title for the paragraph? Or who was the subject talking about in the paragraph? It's really simple. Auto shop information is clearly about cars and stuff like that. Math knowledge, that's pretty self-explanatory. Mechanical comprehension is kind of about rotors and things like that. Wheels turning. And if one wheel is a certain size and another wheel is a smaller size or a larger size, how many rotations will it take for the first wheel to make one large rotation for the second wheel? So it's really simple. If you have a knowledge and an understanding of spatial concepts, you should probably be good. And electronic info is kind of like electronic symbols, and like what kind of switch turns on a light and things like that. So I kind of read over that in the ASVAB book. It's kind of difficult for me to explain to you without showing you pictures, and I'm not trying to do all that. And you can just look through the book. It's it makes more sense if you just read the book. But anyway, I focused on my 2 areas, and then I took the test, and I'll show you what I got, because I still have my test score, so I'll show you what I got. So up top here, standard scores, and then it has your subtest scores, like general science, arithmetic, word knowledge, all that as it goes, right? And then here we go. Okay, so and then you got your composite scores, right? So those are my 4 scores for the Air Force. So I got an 87, a 98, a 91, and 91, which is pretty good. And then down the bottom, what you're really worried about, because you need a 50, I believe, to get into the Air Force. So I got a 95, which is pretty good. Okay. So I got a 95 on the test. I was really excited about that. I did well. My recruiter told me if I scored lower than a 50 to call him, because that means you have to retake the test. But I didn't, so I was pretty excited about that, and I could go on and continue about my day. So since I made the 95, they gave me a list. They gave me about 4 pages of jobs. And then I went on and I got to pick my job and so on and so forth. But that's another video for another time. So I want to talk to you real quick about, there's a test called the coding speed test at the end of the ASVAB. It doesn't count towards your ASVAB as far as I know, but I'll still let you know about it really quickly, because it's a part I wasn't aware of. And the coding speed is kind of like, they give you like maybe 6 words, and then there'll be a word and then numbers next to that word, and then there'll be another word, numbers next to that word, and then so on and so forth, about 6 times. And at the bottom will be the word and then 4 numbers. And so you have to look at the word that's at the bottom, say the word is cat. So the word shows up at the bottom, says cat, and A, B, C, D corresponds to like some numbers. So you have to look at the word cat, and then the word cat will also be at the top. So they want you to find the word that matches the word at the bottom, and then find the number that corresponds to the word that they gave you, and then go back down to the bottom and find the number that matches the word. So that's not that difficult when you first start. They give you maybe about 30 seconds, so it's not that hard. Just look across the screen. But the trick here is that as you go along with the test, the quicker it goes. So it starts flashing up against the screen. So I think the point of that test is that they want to see how quickly you can read and find something. But don't be concerned about it. If you see it in the ASVAB, the coding speed test, I wouldn't be concerned about it. I don't know how big of a deal it is to be able to read quickly. But I wasn't aware of it, so I wasn't really concerned about it until it started flashing really quickly. You have to just take a breather before you click on the answer. That's the best tip I can give you. But if anybody has any questions about the ASVAB or anything, or what's the best way to study or anything, then I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. I also took the foreign language test, or the test to become an interpreter. I passed that, but I'll make another video about that, because that test was hard, and that's just like a whole other thing in itself. But it's kind of hard to explain, and this video is probably a little long. So just message me or inbox me if you have any questions or anything like that, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay?